Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another War of the Visions video, and this weekend we've got a different type of weekend update video coming your way. We're going to do a podcast style, and I'm bringing on a guest, Ryngold, today. We've got a lot of topics to cover. Ryngold, how you doing? Welcome to the video.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh man, living the dream, you know, just playing some games, watching some babies, all of that good stuff. So, now, Ryngold brings a lot of experience in the game to the table, a very familiar face if you catch the live streams. We are going to start today by talking about top-end PvP in War of the Visions, and then kind of through that, we're going to transition into, like, the 100-cost meta, whaling in the game, building communities. There's a lot of stuff that goes into top-end PvP, and all these will kind of tie together. But why don't you tell the people, like, what your experience is in top-end PvP?
Well, I'm a day one player, been part of a few communities, originally with Disney, that eventually became Sanctuary, and now I'm with Gaia Armada, helping them out. Pretty much, I've been everywhere from the top of the top, fighting the top 3, even beating Visipor at a couple points, and all the way back to even the top 200, fighting in there, and everything in between.
I remember, like, we will sometimes face Visipor. Like, if we crack into top 10 and they are on cooldown with everybody they're supposed to face, we'll get matched with them. And people in the guild will, like, worry about that. Because, you know, Visipor is famous for being the super whale guild. And I'm like, guys, think about it like this. We're walking into their yard. We're going to poop in their yard, ring the doorbell, and run away. Like, we're not going to beat them, but we're just going to try to annoy them as much as possible. And then we don't even clear them. We get like 71 stars out of 90, and it's whatever. Because they're super, like, those guys are sweaty. And so, we're not even that. Like, what rank of guild are you chilling in now?
I believe last time I checked, we were 59 right now. But so, yeah, like, I definitely know what you're talking about when facing Visipor. For a while there, that's how we were like, you know, all right, let's try our best. Let's try to give them the finger and keep going at it. But there's a point in time where we're like, you know what? Let's all just come together, put in the work, get things done, get everything organized, and let's make a run for that top spot.
Well, and see, that's it too, because, like, I think when we first were playing the game, like, I mean, because I'm day one player too, and when I first joined Cayenne, it was a couple weeks into the game. And we were rank 1 for like a second. And we started realizing, like, even back then, the amount of dedication and money that it was going to take. And we're talking like back in the early days. The money it cost to stay current in the game back then was, well, there's no pity. So you just pulled until you got something. And yeah, and if it was something like Bahamut or Odin, you pull, just keep pulling. And yeah, those were painful days, man. Those days sucked.
Put that credit card on file, you know?
Yeah. Go to the blood bank and donate blood and get their little donor card and just max that thing out every week. Anyway, I mean, so no, go ahead.
With that, like, luckily we had a player called Etrius. He was one of the community leaders. He was pretty much our war master. He organized everything. I mean, the dude knew it all. Like, he knew how to organize the attacks and everything like that. He eventually went on to help Visipor pretty much make them into the juggernaut that they are now.
Is he still in that? Is he still in Visipor?
No, I think he left. He really got into Genshin Impact.
Okay, so he, like, does it, okay, because I said that name's not super familiar to me, but, like, Disney, you mentioned being in Disney. If you're an old school player of this game, you probably remember Disney. They are gone. Like, that's not been a thing for a while, right?
Yeah, that hasn't been. We rebranded to Sanctuary because we wanted to get our name out there and didn't want to run into any trademark issues with the Disney Corporation. So we rebranded to Sanctuary.
Okay. So, all right. I want to differentiate too. When we're talking like top end PvP, I think if you're like a newer player or you're somebody who's a light spender, getting top 100 or something like that in arena, getting top 10 maybe even in arena, there's luck involved there. And if you have like one solid team and it's a good bonus week for you, I feel like that's doable. I feel like a good Guild Wars offense team, heck, if you've got one really good team, just run it all the time in Guild Wars offense. But it's that defense in Guild Wars that became the point, I know for me at least, where that's where I was not willing to coordinate that much anymore.
Yes, the wall formations, that's where they always get you, because that's always changing, and if you're going to be a part of a top-end PvP team, you're on that game every day, getting that wall set up before guild battle starts. There will always be one of the leadership that will announce, hey, we're running this. Everyone switch to it.
Well, and even like we only change our, like we run walls and we change them about once a week, right? For regular Guild Wars. Maybe during a limited, we'll have 2 or 3 walls set up, but we'll always set those up beforehand and we might switch like once. But even that, if I get a message, because stupid timing, this game's based out of Japan, and so Guild Wars starts in the middle of the afternoon, so your time for changing is like from when you wake up in the morning till before you get off of work. And for most people, if you have like a regular schedule, I mean, and so it's really hard. You get a message on Discord at 11 a.m. It's like, hey, change to this wall. And you're like, well, I have 2 hours until it locks and I'm at work. So, oh, well. And if you're in Visipur, you can't just, oh, well, that thing. I don't know. Gosh, not only that, but you better have the newest unit, the newest meta, and it needs to be 140. And you can't like slow, I don't know, I like to slow build stuff. I like to be able to skip something if I need to. And it's just too sweaty for me to do all the time.
No, definitely. I think if you want your guild to be in the top end PvP, you're going to need at least 1 or 2 theory crafters. Mm-hmm. Who will mess around with, there are usually heavy whales that have almost every unit and vision card in the game. And they will just play around over and over and over and over and over again, trying different things, going against different metas. And they usually work as a group. There's 2 theory crafters, and then there's about 3 other people to help them out. And they'll test different defenses, different attacks, so on and so forth.
See, and that's cool. Like, I respect the heck out of that. And I feel like I would enjoy that for about 2 weeks. And then I'd be like, well, all right, this is, I got life to do now. And I mean, I no-lifed MMOs really hardcore in college, and it cost me everything I was doing in life at the time. It was, I wouldn't undo that. That was like valuable to me, and I think fondly of those times. But my GPA did not thank me for that, and I certainly wasn't. I don't know, like starting a meaningful relationship with anybody who I actually met. Made some friends online. I don't know. It just, I think, and we can transition into this point next. Is like I really think in a game like War of the Visions that's been out for 3 years, you must, for me, as somebody who is like hardcore sometimes, casual sometimes, I have to have a mode I can get into where if I have a really busy week at work or with the family, I can just play for 20 minutes a day and feel at least like I did everything I needed to do in that 20 minutes to keep my account at like a reasonable level. And I collected my rewards. I got my dailies done. Like, that's a useful mode to me. And I just can't always afford to be hardcore testing all the time.
Definitely, yeah. No, it was insane. When we decided that, hey, we wanted to beat Visipur and go for that top spot, everyone had to be on board. Everyone was there, but it was something special in that. When we actually defeated Visipur, everyone stayed up until the end of guild battle to see that victory. Like,
and that feels good.
Everything. It was just blowing up.
Dude, that's a special moment, right? Like, that is a special moment. But that kind of dedication once a week. I
don't know how they keep it up though in Visipur, day in, day out.
Man, like I said, I respect the heck out of it. But sometimes Final Fantasy 16 comes out, and I kind of want to no life that, or at least spend like I like to be able to diversify my hour a day that I have to myself sometimes. Oh man! All right. So let's talk. One thing we kind of touched on there was whaling. So it is a hot topic just in the gaming world right now because games are going to this freemium model, like free game. Yeah, you can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes right now. But a bunch of paid options. And like there's definitely pay to win in almost all games right now. Just how do you feel about that model in general as compared to the old model of gaming, or is it even relevant to talk about?
I mean, in regards to that, these are games that have come out. They know people will spend on them, and I think every game has a healthy community of both people that spend and those who are free to play. You definitely need the spenders, or that game won't stick around. I mean, that's capitalism at the end of the day.
Yeah, see, that's what like
where it makes money.
I always, because people use the word what's the word? They use the word. They say these games are like predatory all the time, and like in my mind, I'm like, when you walk out, the people who say that, I understand what they mean, and I think they're trying to make they're trying to use a word that like grabs people's emotions. But do they also feel that way? Because you said capitalism, right? Like, yes, I agree. Like, capitalism in the way it exists probably is predatory. Like, you walk into Walmart and there's like colorful pictures of fun, and people look like they're having so much fun because they have this stupid outdoor lawn set, and there it is, and it's 30% off, and you can have as much fun as those people are having if you buy it. And like, I guess if that's predatory, sure, then yes, okay, fine. But I hate to just like, I hate for games that I like, I guess I just feel, it feels bad to me when games that I enjoy are being like hated on by people who are enjoying the game for free. It rubs me the wrong way. I know it's
silly because it's like those who are enjoying it for free, it's like, okay, well, just enjoy it for free. But be thankful there are those of us who are spending money that keep this game going that you enjoy.
Yeah. Now, I will say, like, I do think War of the Visions is expensive. It's much less expensive now than it probably ever has been, but it is still expensive. We're talking like I'm spending hundreds of, and you don't have to say, like, by the way, if you don't want to answer, you don't have to, but I know personally I'm spending hundreds of dollars a month on the game, and I feel fine with that because this has been just like an important part of my life for all these years. I also make money on YouTube and Twitch and all of that, so I'm cool with it. But how do you feel about the cost of the game?
I definitely agree with you. It's definitely can be an expensive game. Luckily, the account I have, I usually get units pretty easily, which that's one thing I noticed. I took over another account at one point, and I compared my current account I had to that account. I definitely did notice drop rate differences in between the accounts. Like my current account that I've had, that I always had, that has really good drop rates. So I'm getting 100 cost units usually within the first 5 to 10 pulls.
That's crazy. So you have a really lucky account, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. At least it's in a good bracket. Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with pulls or if I'm just lucky.
I think you're just lucky because yeah.
I've always put it this way. If they say, the game's predatory, it's like, well, that's life. Everything.
Yeah.
What do you think advertisements are? You go visit any news sites, they're throwing all these advertisements at you. It's like everything is predatory, but you have to take accountability for your own actions. It's like, don't spend, overspend, and max out all your credit cards.
See, and that's my thought on it too. And like I do agree that it would be nice. I like, you remember the day when you just go to Walmart or wherever, GameStop or all the game places that used to exist before they all went out of business, and you could just go buy a game, and once you bought it, you had it, right?
Yes.
And then DLCs were a thing. And DLC was the next like people were like, "Oh, this is messed up. I already bought the $60 game, and then 10 days later or 20 days later, they want me to spend another $10 or $20 to get some more stuff." And I'm like, "Yes, they want you to. You don't. It's not a must. You do not have to do it." And also, you got to I don't know. The world has become okay with DLC. Like, DLC exists, and it's not even a hot topic anymore. And I think that's what's going to happen with this model of payment, where like freemium games are just going to become the way to go. And I think League of Legends was the first big one that kind of showed everybody, like, all they sell is skins. And they are making, for what, 12 years now? However long that game's been out, a long time. That game has made big money selling cosmetics, and it blows my mind that games like War of the Visions or I play Honkai Star Rail 2, like, they don't even sell cosmetics in those games. And I'm like, if you did, people would buy them. Why are you guys, I almost feel like they're being dumb and not selling those. But,
no, definitely. Like, the transmog community within the gamer community is huge.
Yeah.
They want to be able to personalize how they look. Like, I play Final Fantasy 14. It's ginormous in that game, the transmog community. Just different outfits for how you want to look, and so on and so forth. Playing dress up, how you want to customize your character to look, so on and so forth. Something that I'm seeing in Diablo 4. Different transmogs that you can do to make your character just look awesome.
Yeah.
That's becoming prevalent. It's like everyone's following along those lines, and I can see why. It's cool to be able to customize your character the way you want it. Because that character at the end of the day is the avatar for you.
Yeah, and I guess those, like, the games that you're mentioning are or at least, like, Diablo 4 is basically an MMO. Like, if we're being real, it's like a weird MMO. It's Diablo 4 MMO, it feels like to me. But yeah, in MMOs, other people get to see you walking around. Where I guess in, like, a lot of these mobile games, that's not necessarily the case, but I still feel like, I mean, people, like, I play Persona 5, for example. That game has a boatload of DLC in it, most of which is like, look, it's Joker in the Persona 3 costume. Look, it's Joker in the Persona 4 costume. And people must be buying it because they keep coming out with it. And I don't know, I feel like, so for me, okay, here's a question I'm going to ask you, because this is the way I think about gaming and spending money, is if I go buy let's say I keep saying those $60. I feel like I'm underselling some games. Let's say it's $70. Let's say you spend $70 on a AAA title game that maybe comes with some stuff. How many hours do you need to get out of that to justify your $70 spend?
I mean, I'm looking at least 40, 50 hours at least.
And that's most games, I feel like, right? Or about 40, 50. Yeah. You have the really long ones, like Persona 5, that are maybe 100 plus. And maybe you play them over again and, like, relive the experience. But there's definitely been, I wish War of the Visions had an hours played button. Now, that number would be inflated by, like, I don't know, running the game in the background with macros back in the day. But I bet you, like, I still feel like I've probably spent too much money on the game, but I don't regret it. And that might be because I, like, have the money to spend, and I get that some people don't have the money to spend, and so they might view it differently, and, like, they might hate the fact that other people can spend the money. But still, like, I don't know. I feel like in a lot of games, I don't know, I feel like I'm going down a weird path here, and I do agree with what people say about the games are really taking advantage of that, like, impulse in you, like the FOMO or whatever, and all of those Viziour packs or all of those Stellar Jade packs are right in front of you, and for just this much more money you could go get them. And it does require an amount of self-control that maybe certain people don't have to avoid that. And so that is, I guess that is a problem, but it's not a problem that I think is ever going away outside of, like, the government actually stepping in and regulating it, which I doubt that people in the government even know about gacha gaming. If I'm
well, like, but that's something that's been going on since advertisement came around. It's always been the fear of missing out. I mean, that's why people spend absurd amount of money on Louis Vuitton bags or
iPhone 1600.
Yeah, it's like that's why people spend all this crazy amount of money on just a T-shirt with a logo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
can literally get yourself a plain white T-shirt and just have someone put that logo on there at an extreme fraction of the cost.
Dude, and like, if we're being real too, like, at least I know who developed the video games that I'm spending money on. Yeah. Like, if I go buy a 200 pair of Nike shoes, like, there's definitely a part of me in the back of my head where I'm like, yeah, this was made by, like, child labor in Vietnam. I guess I'm okay with it. Like, I'm not, like, I would never, it's, so, I just think it's like, it's interesting to me as a gamer that gaming is the platform in which we are having this conversation right now, where I feel like it's more of a conversation that is broader than gaming. And yeah, I don't know. I wish I would sign up for a subscription based model. I think but what that does is it prevents people with lots of disposable income from spending their money.
Yeah.
And there's no way companies will willingly sign up for that. Because one Super Kraken supports 2,000 minnows. So, yeah, well, I know.
That's the thing. It's like, people who have fear of missing out, it's like, I definitely understand that this game is aiming towards that impulses, but at the end of the day, the only one that is accountable for your actions are yourself.
Gotta be, right? Gotta be.
Yep. It's what it means to be an adult.
Yep, and I think the adult word is the important thing there. Like, as a teacher, I would never encourage any of my students to play gacha games. And if they did, I would, like, definitely tell their parents, like, hey, look, like, it's you as a parent at this point need to be setting either a no spending rule or a budget. And so I think about my son, and, there's those, like, credit cards that exist where it's like the green card, or I don't know what they're called. I'll know pretty soon, I imagine. But you can basically just put an amount of money into the card and, like, give them, like, $100 a month. And so they have their own credit card as a teenager, but you give it a certain amount of money, or you put a cap on it as their parent, and they literally will just get it declined if they hit that cap. And that is, like, there's lessons there in self-control. And I think I would probably do that with my kid. And then if he goes out and blows his, maybe he has $200 a month on his credit card or something. I don't know. He'll have, let's say it's before he has a job, and he blows it all on some gacha game in the first 3 days. I'll be like, well, sucks to not have money for 27 days, doesn't it? Like, I bet you next month you think a little differently about this. And we all make those mistakes as. And maybe this is where this conversation ends. It's like, I think we all make those mistakes as kids. Just nowadays, the option of making that mistake 1,000 times harder. Like, you could fall into dropping $4,000 or $5,000 in a gacha game and not even realize you're doing it. And maybe that is the thing that I would change. Is, like, the potential to just put yourself in, like, crippling debt exists. Whereas back in the day, I mean, it would have taken a predatory loan company loaning me a bunch of money to do something like go to school, and then letting me just do that. Wait, college? Wait, oh, whoa, interesting. Yeah, like you said, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And at least with gaming, you know what you're buying. It's not like, yeah. And there's a whole nother conversation to be had where people say, like, gacha gaming is gambling. I just disagree with that. I think it triggers some of the same, like, chemicals in your brain that gambling does. Like, that high from winning a roll is probably very similar. But the difference is, if you go to a casino because you're in debt, there is the chance of like 100 cost unit chance of you walking out of there not broke anymore because you, like, cashed in and now you can change your life. With gaming, you're never going to get money. Like, there's not the, like, oh, I'm a millionaire now, or I won $10,000. You're just paying for a chance at something. So I do think there is still a distinction between gacha gaming and true gambling, but I do understand, like, the feeling is similar, I think. Yeah.
No, definitely. With that, I wouldn't even call it gambling because there are guaranteed rates. There's nothing guaranteed in gambling, except for you're going to pass your money off to the dealer.
Yeah, those casinos aren't making money off of giving people money. Yeah.
But in, like, War of the Visions, there are pities. systems
right.
put into place. So it's like, yes.
Well, and there's something I would like to see.
Much money to get this character, but you have a chance of getting it earlier.
See, and I would like to see that formalized for gaming. Like, if there was something that was going to be done about gacha gaming, is just say, like, and again, I think this would take government intervention, and that's why it won't happen. But a pity system does at least let you sit there and be like, okay, I have no viz. It's going to cost me $40K to pull this if I unluck the most. How much money is 40,000 Visior? Well, you could go open, and I'm opening it up on my screen right now. If you're buying like 10,000 Viz is $80. So, 80 times 4, that's $240. So, at least there, you could just really quickly do a little math and know, oh gosh, this might cost me $240. Am I okay with that? If you're not, then don't. Right? But when War of the Visions first came out, oh man, yeah, we were talking Orlando. Like, how much money did it? Did you ever watch Dejan?
Oh yeah, I felt so bad for him. I got him pretty easily. I think I only spent like 20,000 Viz.
Oh, that's great. For back in the day, that's basically free. Like you stole from the game.
But yeah, Dejan, man, he was like at 100,000 Viz.
Yeah.
And it was a dumpster fire. It was like watching a dumpster fire. And eventually, it just got so bad. I was praying for him. I was like, "Come on, just give him the unit. Just give him it. This is just too hard to watch."
Well, it was 100,000 Viz back in the day before there was these like 14 million download Visior Pack 4 or week. There was no weekly Visior packs. It was just Visior Pack A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's what we had. Right? The 30-day value pack wasn't even a thing yet. Yeah, Pack H. So, yeah, that was... there was no offer wall. There was none of that stuff we have today to get Viz. So, oof. Yeah.
That was a brutal time. Even just playing the game at that time was brutal because there was no auto battle. There was no auto repeat. There was no background repeat.
Auto battle was in the game, but auto repeat was not in the game. Like, you could click auto and your team would fight automatically for you. But you could not automatically repeat a level. You had to manually repeat everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could only go up to 2 times speed, I believe. At the time was max.
And you had to be Royal Rank 8 to get 2x speed. Now Royal Rank 8 gives you 3 times speed, which feels... 3 times speed. I would hate going back to not having 3 times speed. But people instantly get 2 times speed now. Instantly.
Oh, yeah. It's massive so much nicer for new players. They get all these freebies. If you're going to whale when you first start.
Yeah.
Because you get so much bang for your buck.
So much. Drop $100 or drop $20 when you start, and you will get to experience this game in an amazing way. Whereas like when we started, it was an embarrassing amount of money to experience the game in that way. But what was I going to spend that money on anyway? Probably just go to Taco John's a bunch of times.
And it wasn't just building the or just getting characters. It was building the characters was expensive too, because there were all these. Oh, you got all these shards per day, like 10 free shards per day.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing.
Everything to exchange for those units. It's like you were literally refreshing the shop.
Yep, and it cost Visior to refresh the shop. Like, that was a thing too, is I remember I pulled Orlando by accident during his banner, and there was, I think, 11 or 12 days left of tactics. And so I had to budget out exactly how many shards I needed a day to max him. And then, like, how much Visior I needed. And I was literally, I've told the story a bunch of times, but I was literally, like, selling plasma to get money so I could get Visior to refresh the shop to buy his shards. Like, insane levels of, like, stupidity to get that done. But
yeah, anyone starting now doesn't know the hardships.
No. I hope, by the way, I hope gacha games never are that bad again.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Star Rail, for example, that just came out, not that bad. There's not a need to keep up with the meta in that game. And so you just don't feel that like pressure. Orlando was game breakingly OP when he was if you had him at 99, you were doing. It's like Orlando, Engelbert, Ayaka was the meta. That was it. Yep, that's what you played. And everybody who rerolled for Medina just, oof. Yeah.
Those are the days, man.
Well, okay, I think we're at like 30 minutes, so let's put a little bow on this. Why don't we talk about communities for a second? Why don't you shout out like your guild, your community that you're in, and offer people who are looking for a home to hang out in?
Well, I'm part of the Gaia Armada community. I am the guild leader of Vanguard right now. It switches between me and the community leader, Elijah. We have a number of guilds, I think like 7 or 8 guilds we have right now in our community. A fun place. People always chatting with each other. We're trying to get tournaments together. Just a fun place to go. So check us out at Gaia Armada, and we'll find you a home.
Awesome. All right. Well, Ryngold, thank you so much for being a guest on the video today. Guys, if you are watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments if you liked this format. This is something we could do again if the people like it. So, awesome. All right. Ryngold, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me.
No problem. And later, everybody. Peace.